Hello everyone, my name is Nelson, and in this video tutorial today, I'm going to be teaching you guys the Dart programming language. And now let's head over to it. And as you can see over here, what is that? Firstly, I'm going to have to define what that is. And then secondly, I'm going to have to break down every terminologies in the definition for you guys and explain it sequentially. So now what is that? That can simply be defined as a statically typed object-oriented programming language used to make multi-platform applications. Now, by statically typed, what do I mean? The statically typed language is a language where variable types are known at compile time. For example, we have the C programming language, the C++ programming language, the Java, and also our very own Dart. Given a practical example here, I have a variable called country, and this holds a value called France. So you could see the value in which it holds. This is a string value. So this variable holds a string value France. So you can see the type defined here is string. This is how statically typed languages work. For languages such as JavaScript, which are dynamically typed, you don't need to state the type here like string country equal to France. You just be like var country equal to France. JavaScript is okay with that. So in other words, statically typed programming language are kind of strict with type definition, in compile time, or you could say at compile time. But for dynamically typed programming language, they are kind of inferred on their own, so you don't have to bother about that. So back here, that also works in hand with Flutter framework. So what is Flutter? Flutter is a framework which works hand in hand with that. So just know that that is a programming language that we use with Flutter. You understand? So framework helps developers to make their work kind of easy, simplified, and the rest of that. So if you're familiar using other frameworks in other programming languages, such as the Node.js and the JavaScript, you understand what I'm saying. But you don't have to be scared or anything. So I'm gonna like take this from beginning for beginners, and I'm gonna have to explain everything for you guys so that you guys are gonna understand what I mean. So just know that for now that works in handy with Flutter framework. So what are we gonna do? What we'll do? So in this tutorial here, firstly we're gonna have to cover the Dart basics, which is the strings, the integers, and the doubles, which is kind of like the operator types. So secondly, we're going to cover functions. So functions is one of the most important thing in programming language. You see functions and you see strings, integers, and the rest of that. So thirdly, we're going to have to cover lists, sets, and maps. And then lastly, we're going to have to cover classes. So for those of you who are familiar with other programming languages here, for maps takes the same syntax with objects. So you know objects kind of like in JavaScript, for example. Take for instance JavaScript, when we're dealing with objects, we're dealing with key value pairs. So that's the same thing with maps. With maps, you're dealing with key value pairs. So the only difference here is the naming. So for that, we call our objects maps. You understand? And so for other programming languages such as JavaScript, you call them theirs objects. So for another programming language like Python, for Python we call theirs dictionaries. And so that's it. So heading over here, and as I said in the beginning, this tutorial here is for beginners and also for advanced learners, you understand? So we're going to be making use of the Dartpad. So what is Dartpad? The Dartpad is an online code editor, or you could say it's an online playground for running Dart code. So you could see a brief example here. So we have a function of main. So this is the function name main. So you could see we have our type void. Why is void is because it returns nothing. So in that, when a function returns nothing, it's considered to be void. So I'm going to explain that for you, but not now. So just know that this is a main function which has a return type of nothing. So that's why we gave this void. So inside this function, we have a for loop which generates for us hello and then different numbers. So let me go ahead and run this so that you could see how it looks. So you could see hello 1, hello 2, 3, 4, and down to 10. So also another thing I want you guys to take note of is the main. Whenever you see this main function in that, is considered to be the entry point. So whenever you're running that, no matter what you do, the compiler, when the code is about to be compiled, the only thing the compiler is going to come to look for is this main function. So any other function you have, the compiler doesn't give give a shit about it. You understand? So the compiler doesn't care. All the compiler knows and all the compiler is looking for is the main function. So this main function is considered to be your entry point, kind of like a gateway into your building. You understand? Your hotel, your estate, or whatsoever, or the door into your house. You understand? So this main function is so very very important in that programming language. And so with that being said, in case if you want to install that locally into your system, you could go ahead, click this button here, install that SDK, then follow the processes and follow the procedures, and then you're gonna succeed with that. But also, in case if you don't want to install just that alone, you want to go ahead installing Flutter. In case if you then install Flutter, the Flutter the Flutter package comes along with the that SDK inside it. So that SDK exists as a folder inside the Flutter SDK. You understand? So in case if you have Flutter already downloaded, you don't need to download that any longer. But in case if you don't have Flutter downloaded, just go ahead here, click install SDK, and then just install that on its own. You understand? So let's head to the next chapter and see you on the other side.